Thinking about moving to Olympia? Well, don't pack your bags yet. There are 13 things we're going to share with you that you must be able to handle if you're planning on making this your home.
Joe and Charity Slawter with the Live Well Home Group, and we help people just like you who are moving into the area. So if you're curious and have more questions about what it'd be like to live here, you're going to want to stick around, or you can reach out to us directly by calling or texting us on the number below. First thing you need to know is the weather, and it's the best of times and it's the worst of times. That's really the best way to describe weather, because 8 to 9 months out of the year, it is drizzly and cold, and I don't want to say miserable because I don't mind it, but then you have 4 months of the best place on the planet. So you got to be ready to make the adjustment. And in the adjustment,
you definitely want to know something. This is an insider tip. Don't have an umbrella. I mean, you can have one, like if you're going to go stand outside for a soccer game or something like
block
that.
the sun.
Or you can block the sun with it. But actually, nobody that lives here uses umbrellas. They get out of their car, they run into the store, they just use a hoodie. In fact, you're going to need a new collection of hoodies and multiple kinds of coats for every season.
Light coat, your medium heavy coat, your heavy coat, your heavy raincoat, it could be a blizzard today, but only for 3 days coat. I mean, all of those things are going to be part of your repertoire. And your basic array of, basically sweatcoats, sweatshirts.
Yeah. So if you can't handle that,
this is not for you. That's it. Just not for you, honestly. The second thing that you got to want to become aware of is the traffic. So if you are coming from a major metropolis, I mean, a Chicago, a Seattle, LA, San Francisco, if you're used to just like, this is a cacophony, well, we're not that bad. This is some good times.
If you love traffic.
You're probably going to be like, this is nothing. And honestly, it probably isn't that bad, and it really isn't that bad in comparison to other places. So you can get around town pretty much in 5 to 20 minutes, depending. If you're heading north up to Seattle, depending on traffic, because I-5 can sometimes back up around the military base. If that happens, for the most part, you can get around the area pretty conveniently.
One thing that I will note on a side note, because we have such beautiful sunny weather in the summer, that's when the work crews all try to get their work done around town. Of course, on the freeway, there's going to be work happening all the time, but around town, it's pretty busy. In fact, the other day I was trying to go somewhere and I knew there was going to be road construction. So I went a different way and I ran into road construction anyway. So a little bit of backup in throughout town during the summer months as well.
Yeah. But it's really not traffic.
A third thing you have to be able to handle if you're moving here is the cost of living. So, I mean, the cost of living compared to the Midwest or the South,
it's expensive. We're expensive. But if you're moving from like Seattle or San Francisco or LA or New York, you're going to think, man, this place is a good value. And you're right. Matter of fact, we are 40% cheaper than Seattle. So that's pretty powerful, because you think about $1 million home in Seattle, well, that's only $600,000 here. And we're getting it in a really amazing neighborhood, regardless of what neighborhood you're in.
Yeah. So think about cost of living in a pro and con, depending on where you're coming from. And if you're coming from one of those states where it does feel like it costs a little bit more, well, the rest of the things that you get here definitely make up for it. And we are actually, as Joe was saying, we're so much cheaper in Seattle, but we are the cheapest waterfront city in all of Washington state. So if you want to be on the water and you want to be in Washington, then this is the place to be.
Yeah, and in a city. I mean, you can find some little town somewhere that's going to be cheaper, but bless your heart. Don't live there. No, just kidding. Well, the next thing that goes along with cost of living is actually how do you earn some money?
You got
to have a job. So let's talk about employment opportunities, what it would look like and what you need to know before you get here.
Yeah, so I would say something you must know is that we don't have any major industries here. Our major industry is that we're the state capital. So we have a lot of jobs in the legislature, a lot of state jobs. In fact, almost everybody in our neighborhood works for the state. So there's all of those jobs and all the administration that goes along with that.
Absolutely. Of course, there's going to be healthcare. There is things that are ancillary services to the military because we have a large military base. So yeah, some of those type of things. What you are finding more and more people that are moving here, and it might be just like you, because if you could do remote work, now we're talking, because there are a lot of remote jobs, especially if you only have to go into the office maybe 2 times a week up in Bellevue or Seattle. Well, people are moving down here for the affordability. Just commute up, a couple days a week, it's not that bad.
And there's some public transportation you can also take if you're going from here to Seattle and make it even easier and don't have to worry about traffic at all. All right, you got to know this one because, we all need to be educated. So
Maybe even get a better job, huh? That's what we're thinking. There it is.
Right. So you've got to be able to handle the education system here. And thankfully, it is a good one. People move here specifically for the schools. We have top rated schools, and you should look online at niche.com. So beyond elementary, middle school, and high schools, we have some college opportunities that are right here at Olympia. One of them is the Evergreen State College. It's not Evergreen State College, it is the Evergreen State College. And it is evergreen there. There's so many trees. People go there just to go for walks. It's beautiful, and it is a very unique college. There are some unique majors, and you can also help come up with your major.
Create your own major.
Creative. It's a creative place to be.
Yeah, it's kind of cool.
Very cool. So it kind of sets the vibe also for Olympia. And then we've got South Puget Sound Community College, which is a great community college also, and very close. You can just hop up to Tacoma, and you can go to the UW campus in Tacoma, and there's more community colleges there, PLU and SPU. So a lot of great educational opportunities here.
So you get here and you have a great job, you like the area, but all of a sudden you find yourself, gosh, I'm kind of sick. What do I need to do? Where can I go? Well, we'll talk about that. You're going to want to know that before you move here.
All right. So healthcare, as healthcare goes, we're not obviously a huge city, but we do have great healthcare. In fact, I was just talking to somebody who works at St. Pete's Hospital, and they were saying how amazingly caring their staff is, which of course everybody loves to great healthcare, but they also like to have somebody take care of them in a caring way. That's great. Doctor access as well. And then of course, as we said, we're close to Tacoma. If you need some specializations, you can head that way, or even Seattle is not very far away. So
healthcare for sure. And this is also interesting for any of our military clients that are moving here, because sometimes people are stationed here and then come back to the area because of the healthcare system that's provided at the base.
Right. So Madigan Hospital, the base is one of the top rated hospitals in all of the military community. So that's a great opportunity, especially if you're moving back here and you've been in the military.
I will promise you this. If you move here and you're not active, you're missing the experience of living here in the Northwest, because at all seasons, there is something here for you to do. We can go from hikes to the mountains. You can go out on the water, all kinds of amazing things. Matter of fact, Mount Rainier, Mount St. Helens, and if you've ever wanted to know what it's like to blow up on a mountain, I can give you some insider tips.
He didn't blow up on the mountain.
No, but I drove into the ash. I wanted to say that in a lot of other funny ways, but that's the best that I could do right now on tape. Yeah, that's it. All right. Even though we have a lot of rain, you got to know this before you get here. You have to experience the recreational. You got to get tough, get out there, because there's so much to experience. Of course, there's like Mount Rainier, the Olympic National Forest, the only non-tropical rainforest on the planet, which is pretty amazing. And then you got Mount St. Helens, and like Mount St. Helens, an amazing history of volcano that blew up. Matter of fact, when I was a kid, it blew up, and we were driving from Spokane to Yakima, Central Washington area. We drove right into the ash storm. It was amazing. We got stranded. We ended up staying in like some people's homes as a shelter. That's a pretty cool experience. I thought it'd be fun. That's probably why. It was fun. It's memorable.
It's memorable, that's for sure.
It's memorable. I have an ash story. What's your ash story? Comment below.
So Joe was talking about some of the national parks, but there are also great local parks in the area too. In fact, there are a ton of parks that get you through the woods and right out onto the beach. And one of our favorites is Burfoot Park. We love it because it's a perfect little hike through the woods, and then there you are. And then of course we have Nisqually Wildlife Refuge also, which is a really cool spot. It's got all kinds of wildlife. So it's wildlife refuge, ducks and cranes and all kinds of stuff. And then there's this very long boardwalk that goes out over the water, and it's a great place to walk when it's rainy because you're on the boardwalk and you don't get muddy.
Yeah, that's really amazing. And of course, you can get out on the water with your kayaking, your paddle boarding, whatever it is, fishing in your boat. You got all kinds of activities because you're surrounded not just by Puget Sound, but by a bunch of little lakes as well. So it's so lush, so green, so gorgeous, but you got to toughen it up because not every day is going to be sunshine. We're not SoCal. We're up here. You're going to have the hoodie on, but it's worth it if you do.
All right. Something else you have got to know
before you get here.
It's the state capital, so there's going to be some political stuff going on here.
Obviously, we all know the difference between blue and red, and we are far more blue as the state capital for Washington State, which happens to be a blue state. It's not that there's no red around, there is, but in the Olympia area, you're going to find yourself engaged with more of a blue policy, blue politics. But the great thing is you are in the state capital. So if politics interest you, there are a lot of ways to be engaged and be involved. You're going to see protests happen in our area. You're going to people, from one side to the other side with political statements that they're making. And I think that that's kind of great. It's kind of the melting pot of what makes America great is people have opinions. You're able to express those, and you get to do that here in Olympia.
So if you want to get on the grassroots level of politics, also there's tons of opportunity because you are right here in the state capital. In fact, one of our friends ran for a port position, and we got to get out there and help her and hold up the signs, wear the t-shirts, do all that good stuff. So it's a fun place to be involved with politics.
All right, you have to know this before you move here as well, because if the largest animal you've ever seen is a cat or a large dog, we got those beaten by a long shot. You're going to run into potentially experiencing black bear. You're going to potentially see cougars, but you're going to see deer. You're going to see elk on occasion, especially south of town towards the peninsula for sure. Just a lot of things to see, especially in the wildlife, which is pretty cool. But if you're not used to that, you need to be aware because there are faux pas that you can make in the wildlife arena.
Right. We ran into that. We were actually out hiking and having a great time. And we happened along a moose, which you need to be careful because moose are short-sighted and they charge. But there were some young guys who thought it would be funny to go up behind him and touch him. And Joe had
I had a dad moment. I had a dad moment this few years ago, and I had to express to them the folly of their ways. I use my full vernacular, which normally hold back from public settings in full vernacular, but they had a dad moment. They apologized. Yeah.
So wildlife encounters are here. They're here to stay, but
don't feed them.
Be careful.
Don't jump at them. Just let it be. They
take pictures from afar.
That's right. Well, here's the great news. You could base your entire social scene on wildlife viewing. However, if you want to be in person more, well, it's not really that extravagant here. And you need to know that if you're moving to Olympia.
Yeah, the social scene is lacking, I would say. So that's something you should know.
If you like the nightlife and you like to boogie, we don't have a lot of that.
There's some. And it could be limited by our experiences of the nightlife. Maybe, but
there's not a lot.
There's really not a lot. There are bars.
You're going to want to go up to Seattle or you're going to want to head down to Portland. There are options for you, but it's really going to be traveling out of the area to get there. But here locally, it's really going to be just small one-offs in small clubs.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's definitely some bands that play every weekend, different, pubs and stuff like that. And you can get out and dance and you can get out and listen to some live music, but not a big nightlife scene. No, clubbing. If you really enjoy shopping,
like you like
shopaholic, you're gonna shopaholic online because there is not a lot of shopping here.
Yeah.
In fact, we got a Nordstrom rack last year, and that was
big news. Yeah, like there was a lot of Facebook hooting and hollering over that. I mean, there are some people throwing that up on Instagram, like, woo, woo, here we go. We're big time.
Yeah.
So that kind of sets the bar as high as it is.
Yeah.
That it's the top of it, unfortunately.
We do have a mall.
Yeah.
It's not very robust.
We have an REI.
We do have an REI because it's the outdoor, and all that. Right. But there's shopping in Tacoma. There's more than we have. Go to Bellevue, go to Seattle, go to Portland. But it's so convenient now that you can buy everything online. That who needs to go shopping in Olympia when you can just do it online?
Or Target.
That's right. Or Costco. If you've gone to that age and you buy your clothes at Costco, you're...
Hey, you're set. You're set. If you buy your clothes at Costco, we've got you covered because we have two Costcos.
So moving on from shopping onto dining, if you're not getting all your groceries
at Costco, then you can go out and find a local restaurant. And good news is, I think we actually have some great food, especially for the size of our community.
Yeah. We try to find a spot to go out every weekend, and I actually have a meetup group, and we've been going out to a different restaurant for the last 4 years, and we have not repeated once. So you got options.
Yeah, you've got great pizza, you've got great tap houses, you've got great street food, you've got great fine dining, good steakhouses, the whole 9 yards. So definitely, if you're thinking, oh no, I want to have any great places to go out to eat. Not true. We've got some great places to go out to eat for sure.
We got you covered.
I got to let you in on the secret here. If you like a good true crime podcast is probably not based on our area.
No, probably
Yeah,
not.
because we really don't have a ton of high crime. It just isn't. Matter of fact, most communities, and I would honestly say pretty much any community I walk through, I feel very comfortable, and anyone would feel comfortable in. It's really low crime throughout our area.
The one thing that we should mention here is that there is homelessness in our area, and that can tend to be the areas that have the highest concentration of crime activity. But there's not really a specific spot because those homeless encampments move around. And so, but overall, and you can look it up online, the crime scene is not happening here so much.
You're not going to see a lot of white chalk on body. That's just not happening.
That's
often.
a good thing.
It is a very good thing. This is the last thing you need to know before you consider moving here is we are perfectly located. Not perfectly located in a big city, but between two big cities.
Right.
So if you want to head up to Seattle, hour and a half. If you want to head down to Portland, a couple hours. Like we've mentioned before, there are convenient ways to get to either location.
And people actually move here just because of that, because they want to live in a quieter town, but they want to have access to both cities. So actually, we've talked to just a couple people recently and said that's specifically why they moved here.
Super cool. I love it because it makes sense.
So obviously, you can drive to Seattle or Portland, or you can take the train. You can take a train directly to Portland. It's super cheap. I think it's like $35 or something, and it takes you from Lacey, which is basically Olympia, right downtown Portland, spend the day, come back, whatever you want to do, and relax the whole time. And then if you want to go up to Seattle, you can catch the Sounder just from Lakewood, which is just north of us, just by a little bit. And that's super cheap, like $5 or $6, and you can get downtown Seattle.
Catch game, Mariners game, Sounders game, Seahawks game.
All the games.
All the games.
Or just get downtown.
Or just go downtown for your shopping experience.
We hope this video gave you valuable insights into what it would be like to live in Olympia. Let us know in the comments below what you're most excited about or any other topics you want us to cover. Stay tuned for more videos about living in Olympia. Until next time, we're Joe and Charity Slawter with the Live Well Home Group. And if you are thinking of moving to this area, reach out to us using that number below.